Hey everybody, it's Holy Saturday, and I meant to do this earlier in the day and just forgot. But I wanted to read. I just thought it might be a neat thing for me to read one of the liturgies from. This is the new Every Moment Holy book that came out. It's a liturgy. It's a prayer of intercession against the kingdom of death. As we, even on this day in between Good Friday and Easter, as we prepare ourselves for worship tomorrow. So I just wanted to read this because I found it so beautiful and so thought-provoking. So let me just read it to you as just a prayer. The human heart apart from your light, O Lord, is lost in those dark shadows cast by death. The human heart apart from your love will drink itself to ruin on the wine of unholy communions, of hate, of envy, of fear, of prejudice, of pride, of greed, of resentment, of self-pity, of envious entitlement and rage, and every other ugliness that festers in the wounds of a broken race. This is our unlawful claim, bounded by the embattled trenches of our rebellions. Here is our own broken kingdom, shoddily established, ever precarious, beset by endless war, propped up by a usurped power preserved only by the spilling of blood, peopled by cracked women and splintered men, a world swerving wildly through the guardrails and over the precipice of anything good and true. This is our illegitimate puppet kingdom, freewheeling, death-dealing, downward spiraling, make it up as we go, fashioning the world in our own shattered image and unto our own twisted ends. To spin it as but one more spoke upon a wheel of life is to ignore the groaning cry of all your creatures, O Christ. Death is a catastrophe, an obscene enemy, a poisoned arrow piercing the eye of creation, twisting history and nations, bereaving lovers, warping the constellations of community, family, of flourishing. And each of us has played our guilty part, for we, men and women, who in our sin first sought God-likeness, ushered in instead futility and death, long ago destroying our own immortal thrones in the very act by which we sought to crown ourselves as sovereigns of ourselves. And every generation since has learned at what expense such liberation came. Death is the rock upon which every raging wave of human pride is dashed and proven impotent and consumed. Like runners stumbling at the starting gun, snapping bone and tumbling face first into mud, we have lapsed absurdly short of the glory of God. Distorting each facet of the divine image we were given to reflect, we have twisted those glories first displayed in us into the debasements of a billion idolatries, tyrannies, and pornographies until we finally and hopelessly imprisoned in the twisted pilings of our own wrecked innocence find ourselves. What we now call life is rife with sickness and death, a world where each of us must learn to make the best of these hollows bereft of ones we loved. A squalid shanty town of tattered souls whose ragged holes are visible, however desperately we try to hide our insufficiencies even from ourselves. When the darkest parts, just long enough that for an instant we perceive our monstrous need, the horror of the things we have become and done and left undone, held up against the light of God, reduces us, deluges us, enrages us, or breaks our hearts and drives us to despair. For the settling weight of such a great conviction is more than we can bear. To see ourselves defined in stark relief, too wretched, enslaved and powerless to effect our own release or absolution. Where then is our hope, if we have hope at all? Who will rescue us now from this kingdom of death with which we have so long aligned? These toxic roots and thorny vines in which we've grown so desperately entangled, so deeply intertwined in deed and heart and lineage and mind, have we no hope? Where is our hope? And so we're going to meet tomorrow for worship, and I hope to answer that question. Where is our hope? That leads us right to the reality of resurrection. And it's part of what we should feel on this day, this Holy Saturday. But I just want to invite you, please come and worship with us tomorrow as we talk about the hope that is ours in Jesus. Obi says, come to church. We'll see you guys in the morning.